ESPN FC. What a show we have for you today. Craig, Stevie and Shaq are here with us here in the studio. Later on, we'll be discussing the title race in the Premier League. And boy, was it blown open today as Aston Villa beat Manchester City by 1-0. We'll start, though, at Old Trafford. Manchester United against Chelsea. These two used to be good back in the day. And take a look at that chance for United. 28 shots they had, expected goals exceeding 4 compared to Chelsea, who had 13 shots of their own. This was an open game, but it is a victory for Manchester United. And Craig said this just before we went on air, who are now 3 points adrift of Manchester City.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff given the criticism that we've thrown Manchester United's way over the last few months, but they were excellent.
I saw 2 things tonight which I didn't expect. Was one, a really good Man United performance, and Xhaka taking notes.
Yeah.
And don't deny it, you were taking notes before this show. You were spotted by everybody.
I was not taking notes, but carry on. Carry on.
I love the way that taking notes is a slight.
Well, we have slight on preparation. Over prepping the show, no good.
Let's start with positive United, shall we?
Well, that's the only way to go.
Yeah.
That's their best performance of the season. I don't remember them creating as many chances, even against the cannon fodder in the Premier League. You know, we've talked about it. Burnley, Sheffield United, Wolves at home early in the... although they're not cannon fodder, but Wolves at home early. I think match day 1. This was everything that... I mean, if Ten Hag needed this type of performance, it was tonight. No slackers, no lazy players.
Yeah, Martial, Rashford both dropped.
Both dropped. Everybody on the same page, working hard, playing some nice football, and playing against a dishevelled Chelsea side. Matt, you're right. During the highlights, you said it. Man United should have been home and hosed. Yeah, Chelsea created some chances, but really, the story here was Man United's best performance of the season by a long stretch.
And is it no coincidence that it didn't happen with Rashford in the team, Stevie?
I don't... Do you know, I would actually prefer not to even talk about Rashford.
OK.
Because...
No, what would you like to talk about? Garnacho?
No, this was a completely different attitude.
Yeah.
Where did this attitude come from? Considering all the talk all week, not just from us, but any football show, newspapers, you name it, everybody has been throwing things at Man United, and then they turn round and produce this performance. Yes, it was against a lacklustre, pretty poor Chelsea team, but at the end of the day, they performed. The movement, the chances. I mean, you got Anthony playing with a smile on his face. I mean, when have we ever said that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, hey, absolutely fantastic. If Man United could do this on a consistent basis, then we're talking about a different team. The question is, can they?
Who impressed you today from United, Sean?
I think you could look at everyone. And to Steve's point, I mean, he says against a pretty poor Chelsea. Pretty poor Chelsea is being quite kind, in all honesty. You look at Chelsea, and they played their part in this. I can't think of a single player who had a day that they could be proud of other than Sanchez in the Chelsea goal. Nobody else did anything of any note. We spent the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game trying to figure out exactly who Pochettino had where and why. It just was so fractured. Nothing about Chelsea made any kind of sense. Only when that full screen goes up there and I see Chelsea 55% possession, that comes as a little bit of a shock. Nothing about Chelsea's performance felt that they dominated or had any kind of a foothold in the game. Saying that to your question about Manchester United, this is the performance that we've all been asking for. And as good as it was, and it could easily have been 5 or 6, yes, they only won by a goal, but then the exact opposite was true against Newcastle, where they were second best by a long way and only lost by a goal. So credit Manchester United for a response. It's been a difficult few days for them. A lot has been said and speculated about, and everybody stepped up, and they got the result that their football deserved.
When you get left out for a teenager, be easy to sulk. And I thought we saw Amrabat that we kind of were expecting, along with McTominay. Controlled the middle of the park, pretty much. Picked up all the loose bits and pieces, passed the ball well, got United on the front foot. Obviously, McTominay got his goals. They really drove the team forward. Garnacho was very direct. I thought Dalot was excellent. Obviously, having Shaw back the last couple of weeks is a huge bonus for them. So I thought to a man, they were really, really good. I mean, was it 28 chances? Or some 28 shots or 28 chances created? It is excellent. I mean, you couldn't ask for any more. You could not ask for any more. The only thing you can ask for now is some consistency.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if they played Chelsea every week, they'd be champions.
That'd be great.
Chelsea were...
Well, they are horrible, right?
They're really horrible.
And, you know, a few people have been smarting about some of the criticism I and we have given them, but it's there for all to see. And, you know, we could go through the whole team. You know, Raheem Sterling, who's arguably been their best player this year, which wouldn't really be that difficult, spends, and Stevie was having a grumble about it during the game, he spends half the time on his backside.
Nice way of putting it.
What, a grumble? You know, Nico Jackson is clearly nothing else other than a guy that's going to come off the bench, right? Now, there's $200 million, pounds, whatever you want to call it, or thereabouts in the middle of the park. But the big one was, and Stevie said to me before the game, hey, the game had just started, we were sort of chatting, Cucurella's right back, so now Cucurella's left back. I was like, we all looked at the screen and we're going, where the hell is Shaq said of the playing? Reece James on the bench, who got sent off, who wasn't brilliant when he came on, by the way, but he's the best fullback they've got. He got sent off at Newcastle, so had a rest against Brighton, was not injured as far as I know, and Cucurella plays right back, so left back at right back, so that takes your attacking threat out of the equation. He didn't defend particularly well either against Garnacho, and Colwell, who's a centre-half, at left back. A lot of this is on Pochettino, on the manager.
We've been talking a lot, haven't we? And Chelsea fans have been hanging their hat on the fact that when Nkunku comes back, there's someone to take the chances. But this isn't just missing a striker. This is missing a group of players who can put in a performance, and they're sitting at 10th now.
Yeah. I mean, again, they had a couple of breakaways.
Yes.
And in those couple of breakaways, we saw that Sterling, for some reason, doesn't have the confidence to go and try and score himself. He had a 2-yard start. I'm not sure who the defender was. And he tried to pass to Jackson, who, number one, wasn't even expecting it. And then when he does get it, doesn't really know what to do. But whether Nkunku comes in and does well or not, who's going to get him the chances? I mean, we spoke yesterday about Declan Rice. 100 million for Declan Rice. Now that's a 100 million footballer. Caicedo and Fernandes, you wouldn't pay 100 million for the two of them right now, because they are miles away from a guy like Declan Rice. And if you're going to spend 200 million on two guys in the middle of the park, they better be dominating some of the game. You can't expect them to dominate the whole game, but at least part of it. Since the two of them signed, I don't remember them dominating anybody. And you can't have that when you spend 200 mil. So, do we go further back? Do we move back to the defence?
Well,
I mean, because you can just stand here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Thiago Silva has been magnificent as a player, but now...
Mistake at Newcastle.
He can't move his... the problem for me is he can't move his feet quick enough. I think his brain's still working, but when you can't move your feet, it takes too long. And when you're playing against players like today in Man United, who just couldn't wait to close the ball down, couldn't wait to put you under pressure, then you end up getting caught with the ball and you make rash decisions and you give the ball away.
But you got to Caicedo, sorry, and is it the makeup of the team?
Right.
And all that.